The Kechari mudra is one of those tools that we use when you want to awaken your kundalini, when you want to let go of the attachment to the samsaric world, when you want to tap into that which is unmanifest, that which is pure potential, and that which is fertile ground. Now, apart from all of this, there are also some of you who will want to do the Kechari mudra because of its physical benefits, mental clarity, you'll become more articulate, things just fall into place for you, and apart from that, physically, your blood pressure, your throat gets clear. So it's one of those mudras that is used for you to balance your throat, to balance your third eye, and everything else in turn gets balanced. But I'm going to give you today the very practical side of this mudra and why it is so potent and so widely used for spiritual aspirants who are on the path of Tantra, who are on the path of wanting to awaken Kundalini and are aware of hand gestures, what mudras mean. So a mudra is a hand gesture with intent. So some of us will be doing this and won't even realize that it is actually a mudra which holds meaning. You'll find a lot of people doing this, you'll find a lot of people doing this, you'll find a lot of people doing this. You know, there are so many different types of mudras that we can do. Now, Kechari mudra, it's nothing to do with your hands, although you can incorporate them in getting them to be in gyan mudra, which is the most common one, or you can also do a very powerful one that is to increase the prana inside of you. It is to use your Mercury finger together with the ring finger, which is your Venus finger, and the thumb. These two and the rest of the fingers are straight. You just hold these fingers together and do the Kechari mudra together, but I will explain this in another post at another point. Now, the Kechari mudra, folks, the reason why it's so powerful. Now, what is the actual action? The actual action is, when we speak, what happens? Your tongue is outward, it is not inward. Before the sound is created, the Kundalini comes up with that in 4 stages. So you have para, pashyanti, madhyam, and vaikhari. You don't have to know the names, you don't even need to know what they mean, but they are the different 4 stages. Now, when we chant any mantra, what happens? If you chant it, you can hear it in your navel, you can hear it. Yeah, so if for a moment, if you just do something, like you close your eyes if you want to, and just go and direct it to your navel, you'll start to feel a certain vibration. You're vibrating, you can feel the sound vibrating. Now, the sound vibrating in those 4 ways will then finally come out at the end as vak, vaikhari, and that is the sound that comes out through our throat, and it is then manifest sound that we can then hear. In your Kechari mudra, what you're essentially doing is you're now reversing the flow of sound back into the beginning, which is para, pure potential. So you are now turning prana back in by reversing the tongue. Because what are you doing with the tongue is essentially what you're trying to do is with the tip of your tongue, you want to try to touch right at the top, except it's not going to the top, but you want to touch the talu chakra, which is the uvula. So you know that little thing that dangles? That. So the tip of the tongue, when you roll it, and folks, this can take a very, very long time, but remember, that's not the be all and end all. It's the intent. And if your kundalini is already awake, as long as it's balanced, then do this exercise. If it's not balanced and you feel very ungrounded, this is not for you to be doing. But if you do have a guru, or if you've got a teacher with you and you're supervised, then yes, by all means. So you roll your tongue backward and you touch it against the soft palate. Now, as you do this, right, and you roll it as far back as possible, and you'll see with more practice, you'll be able to really roll it back, and then you'll be able to reverse it so that you're touching that uvula. And that's the talu chakra, which is not even part of your sushumna. It's not part of the central channel. Yeah. So when you do that, with more time, you start to basically help in decrystallizing your pineal gland. You start to activate that, and it causes a reaction which starts to get things in that place moving. It's what you call decrystallization. It creates a certain pressure. That's what meditation does. All of these things are aimed to create that kind of pressure, which is then going to remove the encasing around the pineal, the pituitary, and everything starts to work together. And when this happens, you return to original vision. Now, the amrit dhara, or the som ras, as we say, the rasa starts to flow. And you can start to feel that at the back of your throat. It starts to trickle. For those of you who have imbalances or blockages, one, when you're doing this, even if you can't touch the soft palate, even when you're just doing it a little bit, as long as your kundalini has already been aroused, wherever it is, you will start to feel it. So don't attempt this for more than 3 minutes if you've not done this before. But if you've been doing it, then increase the time. Every time, increase it, get up to 5 minutes, and then just do it every day on the go and for as long as you can. But always remember to keep yourself safe, to keep yourself grounded, and everything else, your vessel must be taken care of before you venture into the depths of these practices. Now, when you turn your tongue backward and towards the soft palate and eventually towards the uvula, and you're coming back the other way, that amrit dhara starts to trickle. Even before it starts to trickle, for some of you, you will start to experience a vibrational fluid, what you call a vibrational fluid, because your nose will start to run. You'll suddenly have this fluid that is coming out. Yeah. So for some of you, you'll suddenly feel like, my nose needs to be cleared, or I feel like runny. This sort of liquid starts to come out. And it's quite all right if it doesn't. It's okay. Which is why, folks, it's very tempting for us to sort of go through, and it's great to share our experiences, but no one experience is going to be like the other. So the breadth of all of this is that the Kechari mudra is basically aiming to go inward. So instead of you going outward and getting more material, getting more physical, you're going inward. So you're actually, if you've not got an active kundalini, by conducting this particular Kechari mudra, it can really, really assist in the process if that's where you're headed. But as always, folks, things like this, when you're going to attempt them, have somebody who's been there. Right? So even if someone is not a spiritual teacher, somebody is not there, but they've got that something in them that they've experienced this, and then they can then help you. The Kechari mudra, folks, when you do that as well, again, when you're not balanced in your chakras, your throat starts to feel that something is coming out. Something is coming out. You're clearing something. If you are unable to voice things, you're clearing, and you'll find you're unable to be untrue. And you're unable to go along with what is not true. And that's where you will find, through your spiritual awakening, Kundalini awakening, you are exceedingly isolated, or exceedingly finding that you don't have many people around you. And if that, you may have one, or maybe not even one. You may not have anybody. And it's not because you want it like that, but because now you cannot not be in the truth. And that truth gradually, from becoming your subjective truth, will then become an objective truth, into a universal truth that then is not changeable. It is then just as it is. And that's when you've now reached your pure consciousness, your pure potential, folks. That's where you're then absolutely clear. You've got clarity. So this mudra, it balances your blood pressure too. But remember, this is not medical advice. That is something for you to do. But gradually, this mudra is able to balance you. It's able to balance you. But if you, again, are not fully grounded, then please don't do this, because by doing this, you will. It is one of those mudras. It is one of those tools that are going to make you ungrounded. And when we are ungrounded, it's so easy for us to go into another world, but we've got to have our feet here as well so that we can participate. But not all of the time, because for some of us, sometimes you need to go and access all of these other places, and you then experience all of these places, folks. So remember, folks, now when you're doing the Kechari mudra, remember to create a little cave for yourself. A cave, if you can have it dark, without any distractions, or just quiet, where there's nobody and there's not going to have anybody there for at least 45 minutes to an hour. Even if you're going to do this for 3 to 10 minutes, please try to have nobody around you or no distractions around you, so that you can be, unless you feel unsafe, which is a different story. But if you're doing this, you can do this even in a group, but then you have this common focus that this is what you're going to do. You will sit in a posture that you're comfortable in, not in a chair, but try to sit in Sukhasana, so you're cross-legged, and bring, generally you come into Gyan Mudra. But as I said at the beginning, if you want to make this super powerful, then your Mercury and your sun fingers, bring them together with your thumb and the other 2 fingers. You have them straight, and you can just rest them on your knees. You can rest this on your knees, and you'll close your eyes and just relax. Regulate your breathing, regulate your thoughts. You can acknowledge them. And when you're ready, you then start by rolling your tip of the tongue right to the back of your mouth, as far back until you reach the soft palate. Then you leave your tongue there, and then you just breathe easy. Now, when you do this, you add one more thing. The one more thing you are going to add is the sound of bees. Now, the reason why I say om and we drag the when you drag the you can feel that vibration. That is the sound of bees, which is going to then create that excitement of Kundalini energy that then allows it to come up. So we're going to do this together. So you bring your hands in that mudra. If your fingers move, don't worry, but just try to keep them straight. So generally have them on your knees, but because I'm illustrating this to you, I'm not putting it down on my knees, but you then close your eyes. For advanced practitioners, remember you can roll your eyes upward or inward at your third eye. Otherwise, you just keep your eyes closed. You make that sound. You make it right from the beginning, from your mooladhara chakra going upward, and you'll feel the last vibration in your lips. You can feel it, and they'll start to tingle. Do this for at least 3 to 5 minutes and let me know how you feel. And if you're going to start this practice, do it for a minimum of 43 days. Minimum of 43 days. By the end of 21 days, you'll have already seen quite a lot of changes. You can take a sankalpa, which means an intention at the beginning of you wanting to do this exercise and keep it going for a while. And you can set an intention. You can say, I'm doing this because I want more clarity, or I'm doing this for whatever reason you want to do. And you do it. But folks, please remember, with utmost reverence to this beautiful, beautiful mudra, when you do this, you're going back inward, you're going back to source, you're going back into that nothingness. Sending you so, so, so much love. May you be blessed, 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 blessed with more of yourself, with more beauty, with more love, so that you can appreciate yourself, so that you can love yourself so much, so that you can then go and spread the love that you really are around you. Take care.